everyone, welcome back to our PCB at Home Sunday School program. We're so happy to have you back with us, and we are currently doing our Miracles of Jesus series, and the miracle we're talking about today is when Jesus fed the 5,000. There were a bunch of people that came to hear Jesus speak and to be able to see him in person, and a whole group gathered. But then they got hungry, and there wasn't like a local McDonald's that they could run to feed the whole group. So they were looking around to see what kind of food they could find. And what they found was a boy who had brought his lunch, which was a couple of fish and some loaves of bread. And Jesus was able to take this simple offering from this young boy, this simple gesture that he provided, and able to multiply it many times over to create enough food for everybody to eat. Now, Jesus didn't just wave his hands and all of a sudden food appeared. He used the offering from this small boy, so this boy was able to assist in this miracle. And Jesus uses all of us every day to assist in helping others, just like the small boy helped to feed the 5,000. So remember that Jesus works through us, and that we can be his hands and his voice as we go about our everyday lives. And with that, of course, we're going to do a project in the kitchen since we are talking about feeding people. And so what we're going to do is make little bread baskets, since in the story we're talking about not only that the young boy had his food and his fish and his bread, but then when they gathered it all up in baskets, there were a lot more food than what they had started with. So we're going to make bread baskets in honor of the story about the feeding the 5,000. So what you're going to need is you're going to need this, which has your muffin tin and some bread and some other little goodies in it. So go ahead and take it out. Now you're going to want to wash your muffin tin in advance because you want to be clean and you want to wash your hands, and if you're going to use a surface other than a plate, then you're going to need to make sure all of that is clean. So once you have everything clean, what we're also going to need is some kind of rolling pin. If you don't have a rolling pin at home, then you can use just a flat glass, or if you have some kind of water bottle or soda bottle, or it could be a bottle of vinegar or whatever you have that it has a bit of a flat side, because we're going to be rolling out our bread. So, and then after that, after we get our bread baskets done, we're going to do some plain bread baskets for our project, but you can also make it a little more interesting and use things like, I got some butter here and some cinnamon. So if you have anything like that laying around, go ahead and gather that. I also have some chocolate chips and some marshmallows. But you can do all kinds of things to decorate and make more interesting bread baskets than just plain bread. Peanut butter and jelly, that's always a good one too. So, but to start with, let's get our bread baskets made. But before you start, we do need to preheat our oven, because we are going to stick them in the oven. So we're going to bake them for 350. So go ahead and preheat your oven. If you have a toaster oven that you'd like to use instead of the big oven, these little tins are definitely small enough to fit in most toaster ovens. So feel free to do that as well, because basically we are toasting the bread and maybe melting some of the stuff that's inside. So I'm going to go ahead and lower the camera so you can see the work surface here. And so what we're going to do is take our bread out. I'm going to give every family 6 pieces of bread, so that you have one for each muffin tin hole. But we don't want the crust, so we're going to go ahead and cut the crust off. I'm just doing them 3 at a time. You could stack all 6 up if you wanted, or if you would prefer to do them one at a time or two at a time, however you want, but we're going to get those crusts off. Okay, put those to the side, and then we're going to do this one. Okay, and then once we have that all done, just one more side here. We can get rid of the crusts. We do not need the crusts anymore. I'll push those off to the side. But this is where our rolling pin comes in. What we're going to do is we want to roll these flat. So just flat, a couple different ways, just to make sure they're nice and flat. And I'll do that for all 6 pieces. Now I gave everybody white bread. If you're not a fan of white bread and you have some brown bread or multigrain bread in your house, then by all means use whatever you want. And now I'm going to show you that if you have a glass instead of the rolling pin, you can roll that right out as well. See, it makes it just as flat using the glass. So no worries if you don't have a rolling pin in your house. Now let's stick into the glass a little bit. Now you shouldn't really need flour or anything for these, but if you find it gets really sticky, you certainly can use a little flour to stop the stickiness. Okay, and then I'm going to show you with my Coke bottle. Now my Coke bottle isn't totally flat. I didn't have any water bottles handy. Some water bottles anywhere might be a little flatter. So here I'm going to need to roll this out a couple different ways just to make sure it's nice and flat. Then, once you have that done, we're simply going to put them in muffin tins. And this is going to be the shape of your basket. So stick them down in there, make sure they kind of go in and make a nice cup shape. Now if you do want to put a little, this is going to be a snack, we are going to get to eat those. I have a little crust on here, so I'm just going to poke those off. Now I see that this is bulging up a little bit. You can kind of, it doesn't matter, but if you want to make it a little flatter, it is made out of aluminum, so it will bend easily. Now, if you, some things we're going to go ahead and put in here. I'm going to make sure a couple of mine are just empty, and then I'm going to make, I want to make kind of like a cinnamon toast. Have you guys ever made cinnamon toast? My kids used to love this for a special snack in the morning, which just requires a little bit of butter. So my son is over here just waiting for me to finish this project so he can eat some of these bread baskets. So I'm going to put a little bit of that in there. Okay, I'm getting butter all, oop. Well, that just goes to show, don't use the knife to press it down. That's okay. Okay, and then I'm going to do a second one too. Now, if you like buttered toast, you could make one of these just to have the butter, and you don't have to put cinnamon sugar on it either. But my family likes cinnamon sugar, so I'm going to make a couple of these that have cinnamon sugar. It's okay if your hands get a little buttery. You can always wipe those off. And then for my cinnamon sugar ones, well, you need the cinnamon. Oop. And wow, that was a lot of cinnamon. Make sure you open, now I'm just going to shake some of this off, and go to my, see, I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing, and I opened the pour side instead of the sprinkle side, so that was my bad. So make sure you open the right side if you're going to use cinnamon. Now for the sugar, I have a little bit of sugar in a bowl, so I'm going to sprinkle some sugar in here too. Okay, now I want to make sure I have a couple of these empty because we're going to do another little project when they're done. But then I need to, I don't know, have maybe a couple little desserty ones. So I'm going to do some chocolate in one. Actually, I'm going to do chocolate in two. But I am a fond lover of s'mores. So in one of these, I'm going to use my marshmallows. One I'm just going to leave chocolate. And the other I'm going to put some marshmallows in. All right, so when you get that done, all we're going to do is then, here, lift this back up. We're going to put this in, oops, it's coming off my, I'm going to put this in the oven. And I'm not quite baked yet, but that's okay. Throw this in the oven here. When I say baked, I mean, it's not quite 350 yet, so give yourself enough time to actually preheat the oven. Now, in preparation for, let's see, I'm looking for getting those done. We are going to pull these out. Now, in your bag, you have, well, there's some googly eyes in that, and that's actually for our other craft when we do the fish. So if you have already done the fish, then you've already pulled those out. If you haven't done the fish craft yet, then leave those in there for the craft. Then we're going to need, for this, we're going to need the crackers. The crackers are going to represent our loaves. And then we have some Swedish fish that will represent the fish. Okay. I had stuck some of those bread bowls where they should be in there for about, or bread baskets, I should say. They should be in there for about 10 to 15 minutes. Keep an eye on them because you don't want them to get too crispy, but you want them firm enough and cooked enough so that they are firm, so that they don't, when you take them out of the muffin tin, that they don't just fall back into their flat shape. So we want them to keep that basket shape. So I had put some in. Grab my handy, you like my cactus pot holder? Let's see. I had put some in prior to starting the oven, so I don't know. I don't think these are quite done, but kind of. You know what? I'm going to let it sit in there just another minute. Let it get a little hotter. But in the meantime, we can take some of our Swedish fish out here. So in the story, it says that there were 2 fish. The little boy had 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread. So I gave everybody 5 fish and a thing of crackers. So use at least 2 of those fish for 1 bread basket, because we need to make the bread basket to represent what Jesus fed the 5,000 with, what the original food was. So we're going to need 2 fish and 5 crackers. And some of these oyster crackers, I realize, are a little crumbly, but try and find 5 good ones. It's okay if you don't. Okay, so actually, well, this one's kind of, yeah. So I've got my 5 loaves of bread, my 2 fish. So I'm going to go ahead and take this out, and it's okay if it's not quite done. You go ahead and keep yours in for the full, at least 10 minutes, if not 15. Okay. And this is what it looks like. Doesn't that look nice and yummy? So, we're going to take one of the baskets. See, it's pretty much, it's not quite crispy enough because I didn't let it sit long enough, but that's okay. For the purposes of time, we're going to keep moving on. But yours should be toast-like. It should be a little on the crispy side. And then you're going to take your basket, or this is your basket, and then you can put your fish in it. And then your 5 loaves of bread. And there you have your fish basket. Just like Jesus had for his miracle when he fed the 5,000s. you have a representation of that. So when you're enjoying your snack, remember whether it's the fish basket or one of your other lovely concoctions, whether it's if you decide to do a s'more one or a cinnamon sugar one, whatever the case may be, when you're enjoying your snack, just remember the story about how Jesus fed the 5,000, and remember that Jesus used the gift that the boy gave of his lunch to do this miracle and produce all this food for all of these people. And know that Jesus can use each one of us, no matter how young or old we are, to perform miracles and daily acts of kindness to all of God's children throughout the world. So keep that in mind when you are given the opportunity to do something kind for somebody or help somebody. That's the way that we can show Jesus' love for not only his love for us, but his love for all of his children. So I hope you enjoy your snacks. I think I'm going to start with the s'more one of my favorites. The marshmallows are nice and melted. So enjoy your snack and have a fabulous day. And I can't wait to see you next week. Thanks. Bye.